10 personal branding tips for 2023. So if you're a service-based entrepreneur, you're going to want to stick around because these 10 tips will help you this year and actually beyond. I'm Patty Dominguez. I'm a positioning expert, and I help service-based women in business create their category one, making their competition irrelevant. My brand is Positioning to Profit, and I am here to help you with 10 personal branding tips for 2023. Happy New Year, by the way. So the first thing you want to do for your 10 personal branding tips, number one, is to develop a clear and concise personal brand statement. At the very core is saying what it is that you do in a very concise way. So it's really clear. And the best part is that when you do it right, it creates curiosity. Let me give you an example. I am Patty Dominguez. I help service-based entrepreneurs establish their category of one, making their competition irrelevant. So it's saying who I help, women who are in service-based business, establish their category of one, meaning they're really going to stand out even in a crowded market. Making their competition irrelevant, meaning you are going to differentiate. And so one of the things that I knew when I hit the nail on the head with my personal brand statement is when people started to say, what? Tell me more about that. Or how do you do that? Or that's interesting. How do you do that? Why? Because I have built curiosity. Do it in that way where you're pointing out specifically who you help, how you help them, that thing that they're looking for. What's the solution? What is the scratch to their itch? And why is it different? Why is it something that they've never heard before? If you have those three components, that is going to help you to develop a clear and concise personal brand statement. Number two, you want to identify what makes you unique, and you want to focus on that. When I first started out in business, and it'll be 10 years next week that I've been in business on my own, I started saying social media. And at the time in 2013, everybody was doing social media. Now, coming from my corporate background, I should have known and I should have realized that I'm like, okay, where's the positioning in that? But it wasn't until I was on a consulting project where I was focusing on positioning that the light went on, and I'm like, hello, I'm not standing out uniquely for myself and my own business. I should know better. Here's the deal. One of the things that you want to make sure is you want to find the white space. Meaning in what it is that you do, where is this little corner of that market that you could claim your stake, like you could plant your flag. Instead of saying social media, instead of saying digital marketing, instead of saying I'm a digital marketing coach or I'm a business growth coach. When I started saying I'm a positioning expert, people are like, what is that? Again, focusing on building curiosity. So that is the one thing that makes it unique, the message that I have to share. So back to you. What is it that you are doing that makes you unique? And I'm going to post right below this video a way to start this process with a personal branding freebie. All right, number three, you want to leverage your social media for brand awareness. One of the things that I know I've been guilty of myself, as well as I see a lot of people doing the same thing, is where they're posting randomly on social media. Yes, it's good to be consistent, but is the message clear that you want to convey? That could mean that the social media that you have, what is it that you want to be known for? Are you sharing stories of transformation? Because people will remember the stories before they remember some tech speak or the curse of knowledge where you're just trying to show how smart you are. They're going to remember your stories. So what value are you bringing to the market? What education are you sharing that is going to be memorable on social media, where people are going to be seeking out the things that you have to say? I honestly have a whole repertoire of stories that I talk about that people remember. And if anyone has been around in my circle, they probably know my stories already, but this is the thing. You want to have these stories, right? Number four, you want to showcase your skills and talents. And the way that you do that is by what's known as, I think it was Dan Kennedy, pardon me. Demonstration means that you are showing what it is that you can do. So if you're a coach, maybe show up online on TikTok, let's say, and you're answering Q&A. Or if you are a tarot reader, I see a lot of people on TikTok and Instagram doing their tarot reading. Or mobility coach, right? You're doing these different types of stretches to show how those stretches can impact your overall well-being. How can you showcase your skills and talents in a way that gets people engaged with the content that you have? All right, number five, maintain consistency in your online presence. One of the worst things that you can do, start, stop, start, stop. One of my favorite mentors said to me one time, nobody is ever consistent, and the people are the ones that win. Just be consistent. Just show up consistently every single day. Decide the cadence of how you want to show up. I always say there's 168 hours in a week. How much time are you spending on your business? It doesn't have to be all 168 hours. You can carve out that time as long as you are consistent and almost methodical about what it is that you're doing. Just be consistent. Number 6, you want to create content that is engaging and informative. I think this goes back to the idea of the curse of knowledge. One of the worst things that you can do is share content with the intention to show up like you're the smartest person in the room or showing off how intelligent you are. That is the worst. That's the curse of knowledge. Getting into the speak that people are like, it sounds good, but I don't really understand what it is that you're saying. Instead, create content that's engaging, where I go into storytelling and informative, meaning what's helpful to them, one nugget that they can take away. Number 7, you want to build relationships, connections. One of the big key focuses for me in this year is building relationships. I think I got into my COVID bubble and I started just focusing on online Zoom meetings and online this and online that. I got really used to that. So looking back, I really took inventory as to what was working, what wasn't. And I really recognized that I lost the mojo for building relationships because we had been in travel restrictions and whatnot. It's time to do that more. So I'm being really specific about building relationships with people who I can connect with, collaborate with, joint venture with. These are the kind of things that are going to help you in your business long term, but with the intention of offering value, building a relationship, building a real connection. So that is going to be very much a focus, and that definitely helps with your personal branding. Number 8, personal branding tips is you want to stay active on your professional networks. Ironically, when I first started my business, I didn't have a website, even though I was talking about marketing and all the things. I didn't have a website at the time because I didn't make it a priority. To be honest with you, I focus primarily on my professional network, and I really leveraged LinkedIn for that because when people would Google my name, my LinkedIn profile comes up straight away. So it has a lot of weight in terms of how I'm showing up online. And so your LinkedIn, it's always a good idea to polish it, especially if you want to build your personal brand. This is such a great way to build the authority that you have, right? It gives a summary of all your past experiences. You can highlight blogs that you've written or podcasts that you've been on, books that you've written, articles featured, maybe you're on TV or radio or any of those things. Post it on LinkedIn because I can tell you for certain LinkedIn has been huge for my business. Number 9, personal branding tips is identify and engage with my target audience. So one of the things is you can't set it and forget it. And I am guilty of that, is to say, listen, I'm putting out content, but it's the engagement that really matters, right? So how are you getting out there and engaging with your premium prospect, as I call them, or your target audience? Is really understanding that when you're engaging with them, and when you have clarity on who you want to serve and really solving for their problems, but really asking genuinely, hey, what do you challenge with? Or like, what's keeping you up at night? Or what is your biggest problem that you're having this year? And just listening with the intent to listen and also to help. You'd be surprised the gold that comes out of those conversations, even if it is on social media, in a thread, interacting. Priceless. That is a great way to show that you really care, and it's a great way to develop your personal brand. And number 10, of course, you want to monitor and measure what's working and what's not. While you can't be everywhere all the time, it's always good. And this is something that I've had to remind myself is like, what's working? So if I'm doing podcasts, am I looking at what are the most downloaded podcasts? Or if I'm doing my YouTube videos, which if you haven't looked at where you are showing up, regardless of the automated tools that you're using to show up in more places, you should monitor what's working. What are people resonating with the most? I think that's really helpful. It's just to looking at what content is working, what's not, what platform is working, what's not, where do we have to scale and where do we have to pull back, so that you're always refining the effort and optimizing wherever possible. All right, so those are my 10 personal branding tips for 2023. Hope it helps you. And as always, please let me know how I could support. Definitely check out the branding freebie that I have. You won't want to miss that. All right, if you want to start your effort on personal branding, you're definitely going to want to check out positioningtoprofit.com/pulse check. And it's basically a mini course that's going to walk you through how you're showing up. How is your personal brand showing up? Because if you don't know what to tweak, or maybe you're sitting on gold that you don't even realize that you should actually be highlighting. So by taking this personal branding pulse check, you can take the mini course. It'll have lots of goodies and tools and guidance there for you. Absolutely complimentary. Again, positiontoprofit.com/pulse check. Let me know what you think. All right. And with that, we'll see you next time.